Hi everybody, how are you this evening? I am going to do a quick video on something that I ran across today after going to a local coin show. And it's something that I have never seen before. It's quite interesting. My wife is actually sitting just off to my left here.
Hello.
She says hi. She's been told to be quiet though while I'm doing this. So anyway, I ran across these rolls, and everybody's seen these double capped rolls. They're a PVC type roll. They've got a cap on each end. They're a tube that was one of the first kind of actual storage tubes, so to speak, back in the late 50s. I believe these were brought out, early 60s. I have a distinct problem with these rolls only because they tend to cause what I call white fuzzies on the coins inside. And I believe it has to do with the type of material, the PVC type material that's used on them. I don't have very good success and very good luck with them, although once in a great while I will run across a roll that is just absolutely phenomenal inside, but it is very, very rare. So interestingly enough about these tubes, all of these tubes, I bought one of these tubes. The one I'm holding in my hand here, I actually bought from a friend of mine a little over a year ago. And it was kind of curious because I love the history behind it. It has a label on it that basically says 1960D small date. It says $18.38. Richardson's 33 of 65. And then it's also got 1960 small date, Franklin Square, $4.60, 10/17 of 60. Okay, so I bought this roll a little over a year ago. Interestingly enough, there were three more rolls that I ran across at the local coin show today here in Madison. This one came from, I'm not actually 100% sure where he got it from, but here is the other interesting thing. These other three rolls that I purchased today, all have the exact same thing on them in terms of the labeling. One of them actually has the same similar blue label on it that talks about Franklin Square and the date of 10/7 of 60 and the $4.60. This one, or 10/17, not 10/7, sorry. So these two are exactly the same from that respect, even though these two were bought almost a year apart, completely different parts of the country. But what was most curious about this is these are 1960D small dates. And when I opened one roll, the first one, the two coins on each end of the tube were both 1960D small dates. The coins in the middle of those four coins, the other 46 coins, excuse me, are actually 1956p Philadelphia's. So everybody's aware and familiar with what's called a fake roll or a planted roll or seeded roll, or whatever you want to call it, where the coins on the ends of usually it's a wrapped roll, you see them on eBay all the time, are nice gem looking coins, and then you open the roll and the rest of the coins are nothing but circulated junk, basically common dates, terrible stuff. So you get suckered into buying this roll thinking, oh, maybe there's better quality coins inside of it, when in reality it's somebody who's basically placed the two coins on either end of the roll and then filled the rest of it with junk and made a ton of money off of you, trying to get you to think you're going to hit the jackpot, and nobody ever does. But people still buy them. I can't figure this out. Anyway, I've always seen it done with wheat cents. I've always seen it done with Indian head cents, stuff like that. I have never in my life, in 30 years of collecting, seen this done with memorial cents. So it started me thinking, okay, first of all, you have to understand the history behind the 1960 large date and small date fiasco, if you want to call it such, at the Mint. In Philadelphia and in Denver, they started out the years printing the 1960D and 1960P as a small 6 in the date. They then soon realized that small 6 was not big enough to really see. A lot of people mistook it actually for a 0, which was kind of interesting. And so they changed the size of the 6 in the date to a large 6, larger tail up, swooped up to the top. Interestingly enough, no mint records were ever kept as far as how many small dates were ever minted, both either Philadelphia or Denver. Now, the Philadelphia Mint is said to have minted only or less than 2 million of the small date Philadelphia ones, which makes them a very, very difficult date to get a hold of. In some cases, actually, the 1960 Ps in today's world sell for $150 or $200 a roll, depending on the quality of the coins. So interestingly enough, same thing with the Denver ones. The Denver ones, they believe, it's estimated that there's roughly between 8 million and 10 million of them that were minted, or more, depending on some people's accounts. So that's why the 60D small dates rolls are usually sell for considerably less than the 60 Philadelphias in the world today. But immediately following the discovery of the 60P and the 60D large date, small date early in the year 1960, all of a sudden coin dealers all over the place went crazy trying to get their hands on the 1960 small dates, both Philadelphia and Denver. There were recorded cases that I've read about that basically said that within a matter of weeks, 1960 P and D rolls of small dates were selling for as much as 20 times face value for things, depending on how badly somebody wanted one. And at one point in the mid 1960s, 1960 Philadelphia's were selling for between $400 and $500 a roll in 1964 and 65. That's unheard of. I mean, that's almost a $1,500 or $1,600 roll in today's money. But interest soon waned. They figured out that there were more than what they thought, and people just, moved on to something else. Coins became not a big deal. What I find most interesting is this is basically, or this roll in front of me here is basically a seeded roll. In other words, the 1956, 57, and 58 wheat cents, while we covet them and look for them because we love wheat cents and they haven't been produced since 1958, back then they were just common everyday rolls. As a matter of fact, you could buy a roll of 1956, 57, or 58 wheat cents, either Philadelphia or Denver, for as little as $1 a roll, and in some cases even 75 cents. But the 60D small dates and the 60P small dates were highly coveted. These, as you can tell here, I mean, this is 65. They sold for $18.38. Originally, there's some dates on some of these here where, like this particular one I have here was 9/26 of 60, sold for $5.10. So it's in this person's best interest to take 4 coins that were 60D small dates, put them on the ends of this tube, wrap it up really nice and pretty, put a little thing on it so that somebody would hopefully hold on to it for a while, and sandwich in between the rest of the coins being basically cheap, average, everyday coins. Not so much in our world today, but in their world, the 1956s were average coins. So this is absolutely one of the weirdest things I've ever run across in all of my 30 years of collecting these coins. Now, do I think the rest of these rolls are the same way? I don't know, but guess what? We're going to find out because I want to know whether or not that's the case. So while we're doing this, I'm actually going to grab my knife. I know most people say don't go at your coins with a knife, but there's really no other way to do this. So we're going to cut the tape around this one end, is what we're going to do. These were known for shrinking around the coins and not really coming off the coins too easily. Some people have accounts of these PVC tubes having to throw them in the freezer in order to get them open because the PVC becomes brittle then at that point. I've got another way of doing it, and I'll show everybody in a minute. But let's open one of these rolls and see what it looks like. See what we've got. Okay, so I've got one end open. This is a 1960D. I'll see if I can get it up there so you guys can take a look at it. If the camera will, you can see it there. It's 1960D. It's a small date, no doubt about that. Put my glasses on here. I'm going to pop the coin off here. Get this one coin off the end. Yep, there we go. It's got a beautiful reverse to it. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Absolutely stunning reverse. And the one below it is also obviously a memorial cent with a really nice reverse. So we know that the top two coins on there, just like the previous roll that I opened, are on that end anyway. What they roll says it is. But I'm going to open up the other end, which is also a 60D. Okay, well, there, out of the other end fell the other 60D, and guess what? This one is actually a memorial cent, which is good because that means this whole roll is hopefully 60D small date. So here's how I get these open without actually doing any damage to the coin. Interesting thing about PVC is after a while it becomes brittle. So all you simply have to do is actually score it, not very heavily, so that you don't put any marks in the side of the coin. Then take your fingernail and pop one end of it and pull. And the tube will actually separate right down that crack. I've got other tape to deal with, but you can see, there we go, you can actually open this roll up all the way down the tube, and out come the coins. So here we go. I'm going to pull some of these out. All right, so this roll is proved to be actually all actual memorial cents, which is good. I mean, that's kind of what I bought. That's what I paid for, so that's what it is. The other two rolls I have here, I'll probably open at some point, and I'll go through these in the meantime. But I wanted to show you that first roll because I was a little bit shocked at what it actually produced and the fact that, yes, there is such a thing as a seated memorial date roll. So I'll go through this roll. I'll try another video and show you guys what it is. A couple of these coins are absolutely just gorgeous coins. I mean, this is an absolutely beautiful 60D Lincoln cent right here. So we'll see what we wind up with for quality of coins. But thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully you've learned something. Have a good night.